I find it interesting when I listen to certain men's content creators, okay? This is a Peaceful Life channel. This is an independent male advisory channel. I don't belong to any damn program, whether it be not. I have respect for the brothers, Passport Bros, Manosphere, Red Pill, none of that shit. I'm an objectivist, reality-based person. I think the red pill is just a metaphor for the truth. If it ain't true, it ain't red pill. You're just a fraud or a grifter, in my mind. If it ain't true and it doesn't deal with objective reality, what is the world experience? Regardless of my religious beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, my ideology, what am I seeing in the real world? Because that's the shit, that outcome, real world shit is what matters. Regardless of my feelings. I don't talk about my feelings. I deal with objective reality. I don't care what your belief system is. And I don't assume that my belief system is superior to anybody else's. But what I will say is this. From a global perspective, what the average man is getting nowadays is responsibilities, obligations, duties, without any type of benefit in the terms of relationships. Now, in terms of your own personal life, I go to the gym because I want to be healthy, because I don't want to be walking around here with diabetes and my foot falling off, and I like seeing my own balls. I want to look down and be able to see my balls. I want to be able to sit down in this car without my stomach pressing into my chest. I want to walk up some stairs without feeling like I'm going to die. That's why I exercise. Not to achieve or women or pre-owned. I save and invest money because I want to enjoy financial freedom and have a choice about what I want to do in my life. Not so I can level up to get some ran through, burnt out woman. No disrespect to the good quality ladies, I have to give credit for you, or to acquire better pre-owned. Because again, you're saying that you're controlled and ran by the ability to acquire pre-owned, which is at an all-time low globally. What I'm saying to you is that the quality and value that men are getting, or the passing on of their legacy, or the value that they're getting from marriage and relationships has changed with the new reality of the modern women. The quality is, I don't know if the quality is changed. It's just that nowadays we've changed our society because women do a majority of the spending. So society itself and the economic structure panders to women. And when you pander to people all the time and you kiss their ass all the time, they don't become good people. So the problem with Scott Galloway's and the people, especially with social media and the Sims and the China is having this problem. South Korea is having this problem. I mean, South Korea's population is dying because of feminism. And then the social media. So we're trying to get men to always be better, not for themselves, but this idea they're going to acquire some better life with women. Like who? Tom Brady? Will Smith? Emmett Smith? Kevin Costner? Tyrese? You go down the list. Brad Pitt? You go down the list. They have money, wealth, status, and whatever, and they still got problem with women. So the money ain't the solution. The solution to your reality is adaptation. That's why I don't talk about. I have my religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs. I don't talk about it because your life is not adjudicated in the church. It's adjudicated in the court of law. In a free society, in a republic, or whatever we are in, a democratic republic, or whatever we live in, your life and the rule of law is what governs. Now, my own personal belief system and what governs my life and my personal life, that's me. And I don't assume that my belief system is superior to another man's belief system whether it's religion or whatever else. I'm not going to force or pontificate my beliefs onto you. But we cannot pretend that this is not a global. This is a global. If this was just happening in America, that'd be one thing. Look at China. China's marriage is just atrocious. Korea, Japan, population dying out everywhere. Thailand, people are not getting married like that. Divorce is high. So something has changed. Modernism, feminism, women are making more money. Women are just not interested in family anymore. Kids, inflation, the economy, it's expensive to raise kids. Or, we're pushing all these degrees in education onto women, many of them basket weaving degrees, and they get these degrees. They feel superior to the guy who works down the street as a plumber. All kinds of things are happening. Women view relationships as being just completely and utterly servitude to men, and they don't want to be under the leadership of men. The feminists convinced them that being married and having kids and whatever else is the equivalent of being in jail, in prison, and abused. They don't want that. So you have to adapt to the world that you live in. And we keep trying to religious our way through a system when you have unfair laws. The laws are what matters. You want to talk about, none of these guys that are telling men to add the state to their life, when that shit blows up in your face, I'm not saying it is, but statistics are statistics. Do you think any of these dudes, these religious dudes, anyone gonna got your back? Hell no. I'm saying, well, dude, I am busted broke. I've been paying alimony and this child support. You gonna lend me some money? That dude ain't gonna give you $1. He gonna tell you to just pray about it. I'm giving dudes real advice that deals with the real world, reality of what's going on today, the real circumstances, how to play the ground game, because everything is tested under stress and in the distance. Short-term things, short-term realities is not real life. Anybody can be in a honeymoon phase of relationship, huggy and whatever. But when stress is added, when things are tested, you better have some faith. But you also need a social and a legal structure that supports those relationships with the family, the culture, the state with its laws. Those things are all a part of a system. If those things are missing, and you have a system that overwhelmingly requires responsibility and obligations from men, but the women don't have to live up to these responsibilities or obligations in terms of what they bring to relationship, you're going to have an imbalance. You're going to end up with a whole bunch of slaves walking around like zombies. Happy wife, happy life, serve the master. But the dudes, they're shadow of themselves. Their life, they're like broken men that's having their souls snatched out of their body on a daily basis. Which is most of my brothers. I always say married men are like combat veterans. I have much respect for them because they've sacrificed their lives to serve the country by producing kids and dealing with these insufferable broads in the long term. Shit, they should be given 15% discount. Much respect to you, brothers, man. And I love you, but you're going through some hell. Dudes are dealing with, it's not even like sexless marriages and stuff, but they've made that man's enjoyment of pleasure, they've made it like a disrespectful experience, and any man with self-esteem is not going to go anywhere near her because he doesn't want to touch her. So that these guys people talk about you single guys. I always say, F you single dudes. You have freedom. You can go buy a box or a game box or ride around the world and fly on your jet airplanes and enjoy your life while that dude is trapped in some prison of misery being tortured by some insufferable broad. He's getting tortured, and you're free ass out here. Ooh, lonely man academic my ass. You can go to a brothel if you want it. I'm not encouraging any of this activity. But that dude is in prison. He don't got he's like looking at you like you goofy goofball. You don't understand the suffering that I'm experiencing in this situation. I'm a prisoner financially. I hate this broad. She's got my kids. And if I leave this situation, I'm afraid some molester going to be coming into the house or some other guy is going to be dating her and he's going to abuse my kids. So he's a hostage and he's looking at you. You're talking about lonely man, my ass. You need to vent some friends and go do something with your life. That dude's in prison, you're free, and you think that you got a hard life. That dude don't have no hard life. You don't got no hard life. You're free. You just been gaslit into believing that you don't have options and your value is low because you live in a gynocentric environment which is ruled by feminism, where we got 7 women to 1 man because they make a little bit of money and they have income. But this is why global travel is important. Not for you to go far, because ain't nothing better or worse in any other culture or country. It's to see the value of pre-owned. If you see how low of value pre-owned is, where you go certain places and there's 50 broads lined up to service you for probably the equivalent of $20, you stop worshiping and overvaluing pre-owned. That's why I want you to do global travel. Not for you to go over here and be, the simp trick of the year, or go around and be some goofy dude making videos with 304s pretending you with virtuous women. If you consume those 304s, enjoy yourself. I'm not judging. What I'm saying is, don't try and bullshit somebody like this is some virtuous, wholesome women. Hoes is hoes. Tell us, man. See, this is why I can't make content like that. I'd be like, look, there's a 304. I got it from down the street. I paid $10. Okay, see you guys later. That'd be my video. It won't be no, he's better than, man, no rat's ass. But female nature is global, period. I don't sell bullshit on this channel. That's why I don't have a whole bunch of bullshit to sell, dudes. And I've traveled. But it's about understanding your value as a man. Understanding. Guys put too much value into pre-owned. It's just the way it is. I mean, you can't talk them out of it because, again, it's a scarcity. Needs drive behavior. Dude has 20 times. He got testosterone buildup. He's thinking some woman is gaslighting her value, some old burnt out 304. And he's buying into it. But it's a global problem. The guys in China, you can't even get these dudes to marry women in China. You can't. South Korea, shit, them dudes is running. They're all the way in Laos, and I see them in Thailand. I see them all over the place. The Philippines, they're running around trying to get away from them broads. The Chinese men, they've had enough. Everything is like an American problem or something. Dudes need to look around. Study South Korea, please, gentlemen. Study South Korea. And you realize this is not just we're not talking about the 10% women. This is a global problem. You have to adapt, man. Stop living in the past. This is a global problem. Hopefully something changes. I think with inflation and with the economy and everything else like that, you're going to end up with people maybe women's fishing for a simp. But, the problem with that is those women don't really want to be in a relationship. They're looking for help and sponsorship. And they will behave themselves temporarily. But those hardcore feminists, once indoctrinated, they'll go back to their old way of thinking. Once that system or the economy improves and some socialist, feminist, ideology gets back in power. But anyhow, peace and blessings to you guys. But study the globe. This is not just a Western issue that's going on. The modern female has devalued herself. And the outcomes we're seeing in population decline with this feminism and, population decline, inflation, changes in the structure, changes in the mentality and mindsets of men. Men are not just getting into these marriages anymore in China, in South Korea, and even here in the Western America. Guys are like, hold on here. What exactly am I signing up for? That's the question what a lot of men are asking. Peace and blessings to you guys. I'm out of here. But just food for thought. Make sure you hit the like button. I'm out.